Hey everybody, so today we are going to make chili. Why? Because here in Central Florida, it's cold. Alright, it's only going to be 65 degrees, and I know up north on today it's also like in the 20s, and we have a different sense of what cold is. But we're going to make my grandmother's chili recipe, but there's going to be a twist with it. So when I was growing up, I didn't like beans. Well, I don't like beans now either. But when I was a kid, when she would make chili, of course I didn't like it because it had the big beans in it. So she decided to sub out the beans for potatoes. So today we're going to learn how to make my grandmother's chili recipe with potatoes. Stay tuned.
So for the ingredients, we're going to have a potato, vegetable oil, we'll have ground pork or ground beef, large onion, some garlic cloves, a can of diced tomatoes, 2 quarts of tomato juice, 6-ounce can of tomato paste, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, more if you want, Louisiana hot sauce, you're going to go ahead and dash that in, and then some salt and pepper along the way. So we're going to start off with a whole onion, and we'll get rid of that papery outer layer, and go ahead and chop that up into about a medium dice. You notice how I'm cutting it here. I sort of go horizontally and then cut down vertically and then chop, chop, chop. And it's a pretty easy way to get that onion cut up without a lot of tears. Then we're going to get a whole russet potato. I sort of like to go a little bit on the larger side. You can do less. So this is what's replacing the beans. So peel it, and then we're going to do it, cut it into quarter-sized cubes. Then we're going to have tomato paste, and we're going to do the diced tomatoes, and then drain that, and you're going to reserve and keep that liquid, and we're going to put it back in later on after we cook down tomato paste and the diced tomatoes. And then we've got the garlic. Go ahead and chop that up, flatten it out, chop it up. Makes really good flavor. I have got about 4 or 5 here. You can do more or less depending on how much garlic flavor you want. And then go ahead and get started with the potatoes. So here's the cube potatoes, and these are going to cook until really tender. Now I like mine very tender, but if you like a little bit more bite in it, then do it until it's sort of fork tender, where you can slide a knife in or a fork in and it doesn't fall apart. But I like mine more on the mushy side, which I think is what I like about replacing the beans. Then we're going to go ahead and get started with the chili base. So we're going to have a couple tablespoons of oil, heat that up until shimmering, and then we're going to put the onions in. And we're going to cook that until they're almost done. They're sort of translucent. They don't have to, don't get them brown though, but they don't have to be super tender at this point. Not tender, but not super tender. Then we're going to go ahead and put the ground pork or ground beef in and break that up. And by the way, here's a pro tip. Take out that paper because it doesn't really taste real good. So we're going to chop that up. And then we will cook it until all of the pink is gone. You don't want to overcook this because then it could turn real tough. Now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of chili powder. You can adjust that to taste. And then we're going to follow it up with some salt and pepper and do that to taste as well as you like. Then we're going to let that cook down so that the seasonings bloom, and you can see there it's blooming. Then we're going to add the 6-ounce can of tomato paste and mix that in for at least a couple minutes until it really starts to develop a flavor. And if it starts to turn a little brown or rusty, that's great. It gives more flavor. Then we're going to add the diced tomatoes, and we're going to let that cook down, get rid of some of the liquid. That will also deepen the flavors for the chili. Then we'll add the 2 quarts of tomato juice, yet another nice flavor for the chili. And then we're going to add back that reserved tomato juice from the diced tomatoes. And give it a little taste. Make sure it's good. and then we can add a little bit more of Louisiana seasoning to give it a little bit more flavor. And then finally, we're going to throw the potatoes in, and of course, my video got lost on that. So there you go, there's the potatoes going in, and the final product, which is delicious. It's my grandmother's recipe that instead of beans, we've got potatoes, and it makes for a great meal, and you can save for a while, and it can even freeze very well. So with that, I will catch you next time.